Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers and edify through entertainment. The other day, Smoked Out went deep into the vault and pulled out an oldie but goodie, a classic Doc Hicks video. In this video, Doc is speaking with a certain individual that wanted to remain anonymous, and this individual breaks down CS2Back's connection to E1 and Alan Grunblatt. This was a solid piece of content, and a lot was revealed in it. So today, we're gonna go through it, dissect it, and as always, put some paint where it ain't. There's a lot happening in the world right now.
That U.S. bombers carried out strikes today at 3 Iranian nuclear sites. One at Natanz, a site that had previously been hit by Israel. Israel and Iran have been trading strikes since Israel's surprise attack last Friday. Israel has already attacked the site at Natanz, now the United States.
An American airbase in Qatar coming under fire from medium and short-range ballistic missiles. Iran's supreme leader posting just moments ago his nation, quote, will not surrender to anyone's violation.
Let's now switch to Israel. Go to our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yanks. He's live in Tel Aviv with the latest, not only from Israel, but what do you make of the fact that this appeared to be a pretty limited response, Trey?
Yeah, John, good afternoon. We're getting more information from regional sources right now on this Iranian attack targeting the Al-Udeid air base.
A lot moving beneath the surface. And if you're paying attention, you can see and feel it. And what's wild is how all of this ties together. The industry, the politics, and the posturing. So let's get into it. Let's break this down and see what we can uncover.
Now, this first part that I'm playing is a discussion with an individual that we're going to remain anonymous at this particular time. You know, just if this individual decides that he wants to put out his name, but he's close to the situation. I'm not going to disclose his area or anything because he has a lot of ties and piecing different things together. But this is a discussion that we're going to start, and we're going to start a little series. Now, it's named Tupac Decoded, now Wack100's association to E1. Now, this first part is about an hour, meaning it's about half an hour, where just this first initial discussion of us just talking on the phone. Now, after this, I'm playing this for you guys first because I want y'all to get an understanding of what maybe the 3 or 4 part series is going to be about, where we're going to actually sit down, not sit down, but I'm going to have them on the phone, and I'm going to actually interview them. I'm going to do different questions so I can break things down. Now, the reason why I'm doing it this way, because I want to give you guys the opportunity in the comment section where if there's any type of questions that you want answered about this whole situation that you may have, you know, after listening to this, if it haven't been answered or if it maybe pop different questions up in your mind, I want you to leave it in the comment section so I can write it down. And the ones I feel like that's most prevalent to this situation, I'm going to ask them, and we're going to piece some things together to create dialogue. This is for the sole purposes to create dialogue. So go ahead and check this out and holler at your boy, this DOC. Peace.
Now, before Wack100 even politic and opened his mouth and said he was working for these dudes, people that's already know a little bit about what's going on already know who E1 is. You feel me?
Yeah.
They're basically getting paid. They're basically a company, people to basically destroy the legacy and also, like I mentioned, push the false narrative that Orlando Anderson was the one who killed Pop.
So now you've really got to ask yourself, why are E1 and Alan Grunblatt invested in pushing the narrative that Orlando Anderson killed Tupac? Why are they so concerned with that version of the story? What's the agenda? Who exactly are they trying to protect? Because when people go this hard to control the narrative, it's never just about clearing things up. It's about covering something up. So the question isn't just what happened. The real question is, who benefits from the lie?
You see what I'm saying? These are the people that are involved with the movie. These are the same people that are involved with Folkmaster Flex, all of a sudden just having this random ass rant that can't nobody understand where the fuck it came from.
Would have never did that. Biggie would have never talked about this situation. And I'm gonna tell you what I fucking hate about. I'm gonna tell you what I hate. And people always want to ask me why I said it. 20 years later.
Laid them both down.
People always say, why I said it 20 years later. I said it when the fucking shit was going on. And Biggie wouldn't have fucking died if that nigga hadn't lied. He lied. Y'all niggas worship him. Lied.
This is Alan Grunblatt's money working in real time. So now we see exactly what the elites are spending their money on, guys like this. This guy Flex is sitting in front of a camera, crying, trying to push the idea that Tupac is the reason Biggie got killed, and it was because of some lie he told. This is what happens when the check clears. This is what their money does. It will have grown men out here grooming and cooning on camera, rewriting history for clout and a couple dollars. Flex didn't just say it, he performed it. Got on camera, made up a story about Tupac being responsible for Biggie's death, and then cried about it. This is how far some of these dudes will go for approval, not truth or justice. Just a paycheck and a pat on the head from the people holding the purse.
Never, ever said nothing about him. He fucking lied.
Right. That's why he got Wack100 all of a sudden calling Tupac Mama a dope fiend and all this other shit, and people just don't understand where the fuck it's coming from.
You don't know what the fuck Pac was taught. Keeping it real, his mom was a dope fiend. She wasn't Harriet Tubman. You clowns talk this shit like dude was Malcolm X or some shit. He was a rapper that womanized, did drugs, and preached violence. He was coming an ex-Klan, 9-Trey XXD.
So now y'all can see exactly why Porky's been acting up on the internet, doing all this clown behavior, pulling stunts, stirring up mess. It's really not that complicated. It's because of his handler, the one pulling the strings behind him.
We all got handlers, Chuck. Chuck, we all have a handler, bro.
Stop it, Wack.
You do, I got a handler.
And here's what you've got to understand. Whenever you see somebody who looks like us get on camera, saying or doing things that most of us would never say or do.
Bosco, Boski, every other word, blood. Fuck you, slob.
Spider Low. Fuck you. Yeah, fuck you, crab ass nigga.
9 times out of 10, there's somebody exactly like Alan Grunblatt standing behind them. That's how this game works. They don't come out and say it themselves. No, they use people who look like us, so it goes undetected. So you won't question it. When you ask yourself, why are these guys doing this? It's because there's always a very wealthy somebody behind them, with a different agenda. And guys like Porky and Flex, they're just the house niggas they send to carry it out.
It's coming from these niggas getting checks that are cut from E1. The first person, I can say the first person, but Greg Cady, the cop who was involved with, this cop was involved with the Biggie case, you know, getting everything together and whatnot. This dude was knocked off the LAPD for changing witness testimonies. So he was already fired by the LAPD. So why is E1 having him as the person who's creating this documentary called The Murder Rap? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're all working for the same entity. E1 not only is in control of Pac, but they're also in control of Dr. Martin Luther King, and they're also in control of Biggie Smalls as well, with their likeness.
Do you know why Prince, the famous rock star that was a friend of mine, do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the fuck could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. and you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. And that's how I got with Comedy Central.
So basically, this company has, if they wanted to say Martin Luther King was a gay Muslim, they could, because they had, and his family couldn't do shit about it, because basically they own the rights to him. You see what I'm saying?
See, this is one of the key things they do in the business world, especially in Hollywood. After you die, they still want to be able to profit off your name, your image, and your likeness. That's why Dave Chappelle said, if you ever read those contracts, you'll see phrases like, in perpetuity throughout the universe. Yeah, the universe. That means if they set up shop on Mars, they can still slap your face on merch and stream your voice through satellites. You're gone, but they're still eating off you. In perpetuity means forever, even outliving the contract itself. And this is exactly what happens when people sign those industry contracts. It's not just a business deal. It's basically like you selling your soul. You hand over your identity, your story, your legacy, forever. And they turn it into a product. So when folks tell you, read the fine print, this is what they're talking about. Because once you sign, they own you. Not just for this life, but for the next one too.
Now, you got to know who E1 is. They're connected somehow, some way with Interscope. With Time Warner. Everybody knows Time Warner and Interscope, Jimmy Iovine, all that stuff. They're all in bed with each other.
Yes, they're all in bed together. Same people, same network, same agenda. They're all part of that same culture Donald Sterling was talking about. The one I broke down in that documentary I dropped a while back. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch it. It's all there plain as day. They've all worked together. And part of their strategy is this. They use people who look like us to keep us at each other's throats, to stir up drama, keep us distracted, divided, and off code. It's not just about entertainment. It's not just about clout. It's about control. When you see these influencers and media heads fanning the flames, playing puppet master over conflict in our communities, understand that it's all by design.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But the main thing is this company E1. This company E1. This company E1.
Since we're talking about E1, I want to show you guys something real quick. Here's something you might not know. E1 even owns the rights to kids' shows, like PJ Masks and Peppa Pig. That means their influence doesn't just stop at hip-hop or street culture. It reaches all the way into your children's minds. Saturday morning cartoons, bedtime shows. They control the message. They own the characters. So while they're pushing one agenda to adults through music and media, they've got a whole different grip on the next generation before they can even spell their own names. It's not just business. It's strategy. Look at what E1 thought would be good to include in children's cartoons. In a recent episode, Peppa Pig introduced its first same-sex couple. Penny Polar Bear, a character in the show, has two mothers. Inclusion marks a significant step in representing diverse family structures in the popular children's series. The episode, titled Families, features Penny drawing a picture of her two mothers and explaining that she lives with them. One of her mothers is a doctor, and the other cooks spaghetti. The show's decision to include a same-sex couple follows a petition calling for more LGBTQ representation in Peppa Pig. This move aligns with a growing trend in children's television to showcase diverse family structures and characters. Previously, the show Arthur featured a gay wedding, and Bluey has also included references to same-sex parents. Once again, for some reason, E1 thought it was a good idea to introduce this type of imagery to children before they can even spell their own names. We've already seen this with Peppa Pig. But let's talk about PJ Masks. Now, PJ Masks is a kid's cartoon where the characters turn into superheroes. One of them is a little girl named Owlette. She transforms into an owl-based superhero. And if you know anything about symbolism, you already know what the owl represents in occult circles. If you don't, you might want to look that up. But here's where it gets real. There's a brief moment in the show, blink, and you'll miss it, where Owlette is transforming, and she throws her hand out. And on 3 of her fingers, there's something written. I paused it, and looked, and it's 3 6s. Clear as day. So you've got to ask yourself, what is E1 really doing putting that in a kid's show? What are they telling us when they put these images in front of our children? You might brush it off, say it's nothing. But that's exactly how subconscious programming works. They don't announce it. They don't explain it. They just slip it in, fast and quiet. In the documentary I did, I showed you who they themselves are telling us they are. This is who C.S. Tubac and Reggie Wright, a deacon in the Church of Christianity, are working for, a system and a company responsible for planting this kind of messaging into children's minds. And the executives down at E1 know most of us won't catch it. They know the average person has no understanding of how deep this goes. And that's the trick. What you don't understand, they use against you. Every time.
Now, there's one dude I think you should I don't know if you've been on your YouTube, but it's one dude, bro, you gotta check out. This dude is real instrumental as far as putting all the evidence together. Because see, what's happening now, bro, is you got a lot of people who was involved in that shit in the 90s and early 2000s that are now, without putting their name or putting their face to shit, sliding this man all the evidence that they had before. All the evidence as far as the gun that was used to shoot Tupac. I ain't gonna say kill him, but we're gonna say shoot him because we still don't know what's up with that. Right. It's all kind of stories about how Gaddafi was at the House of Blues and they confiscated the 40 Glock from Gaddafi at the House of Blues, and instead of the Santa Monica police giving the gun back to Compton or giving the gun back to the sheriffs, they gave the gun back to Right Way Security, who was owned by, of course, Reggie Wright and Reggie Wright Sr. The gun was given to them, and the gun was never given to the police. So right then and there, it tells you that these niggas has got something involved with the gun. You get what I'm saying? But I don't want to get too deep into conspiracies because, of course, I could be on the phone with you for hours about this shit, my nigga. Right. But when it comes to the most recent rants from PhoneFlex and E1, I mean, PhoneFlex and Wack100 is specifically because these niggas are getting checks cut by E1. Now, PhoneFlex, the reason why he crying and all that shit is because he don't want to say what he's saying, but he know he got to say it because these niggas is paying him to say it. Right. You feel me? And I sent you... Go ahead, my bad.
I don't know. In one of my videos, when I was talking about that PhoneFlex shit, I said that I was like, dog, when I really look in his eyes when he crying, it seemed like somebody else is pushing the buttons behind that. Like, he not crying because he emotional. He crying like,
there you go.
He really don't want to do this. That's how he really looked sad in his face.
My nigga, you are so on point. You on point. He don't want to do it because, come on, my nigga, think about it, bro. Think about it. He said what he said, okay? Let's just say for some reason he just slipped up and said some bullshit one day, right? Why does the nigga then tell you to stay tuned for tomorrow, and then he was going to finish what he was saying today, tomorrow, knowing he already got the backlash that one day? Who in their right mind will go back again the next day and then subject themselves to a double dosage of the backlash? Right. It didn't make sense. He was doing that shit because he's getting paid. Yeah. They're forcing this nigga to do this shit. You feel me? Now, I sent you a link to Wack100. It's an Instagram live feed. He at the airport or whatever. He talking about a gang of other bullshit. But I want to say at 6:04, I think I gave you the number, the minute. He's talked specifically about owning these death row reels and him being hired by E1 to executive produce these songs, to push them out, do what he want to do with them, whatever. Right. And you got to think about how YouTube and shit work and people that are trending, how that work. You got this company, E1, who could have picked anybody to give this information to, give this shit to, but they chose Wack100. Why did they choose Wack100? He's a loudmouth nigga. He's trending at the moment, and it seems, and it's not true, but it seems like everybody in LA scared of this nigga.
We all got handlers, Chuck. Chuck, we all have a handler, bro.
Stop it, Wack.
You do. I got a handler.
But that ain't what it is.
Right.
Now, this is from E1's perspective. Like, who could we give this? So they pick Wack100. Wack100 is a nigga. He's managing game, managing Ray J. But who knows if he making real bread like that? You feel me? So I'm pretty sure he took that job knowing what the backlash was going to be, but he still took it. You feel me? Now, 40 Glock, take it for what it's worth. 40 Glock even mentioned the fact that that Wack100 in the mid-90s was trying to be a bodyguard for Suge. Not in the mid-90s, bro, but after, Death Row had, Pac had died and Snoop had left, and they was kind of resurrecting the role, and I think Corrupt had became like a president, some shit or whatever, whatnot. Yeah. Wack100 at that time was trying to become a bodyguard, and Suge wasn't fucking with it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So now it's like, I wouldn't say the roles are reversed, but now Wack100 got his little clout up and his little shit up or whatever. Now it's kind of like he some sort of a boss. You know what I mean? So E100 looked at him like, okay, I think we should target him as the nigga that, we get to do all this shit to. You see what I'm saying? That's why they picked nigga from the East Coast, Flex, they got a voice, they got a mouth. They picked the nigga from the West Coast. They couldn't pick Big Boy or nobody like that because that they wasn't gonna go for it. They picked a perfect nigga, Wack100. You feel me? Yeah. Now, I don't mean to go on and on, but this company, and you gotta know who Greg Kading is. This motherfucker is a dirty ass cop. For one, he was, like I told you, he was kicked off the LAPD for changing witness statements about not only the big case but all kind of other cases and shit. And he got fired, but his official term, I guess, was retired. And the only reason why they retired him was because if they would have fired him, every case he worked on, all them niggas would have had to let go free by law, I guess. So instead of releasing some prisoners and shit, they like, my nigga, you just need to retire. You feel me? So he gracefully walked away for the sake of the prisoners not coming free. But he's got fouls on him for pointing guns at black kids, planting guns on niggas in Compton. This dude is dirty as fuck. And E1 chose this man not only to destroy not only to put the Orlando Anderson narrative together, but to also keep Biggie Smalls' mom away from winning her, I forget how many $1 million it was, a settlement, basically discrediting anything and basically saying it was the East Coast, West Coast shit that killed Biggie. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. And because when Greg Kading was doing his investigation, not one time did he ever include all the dirty cops that were in play here. Now, on the contrary, you got Russell Poole, rest in peace. Okay, I don't know if you know about Russell Poole, but Russell Poole was an LAPD detective, the real LAPD detective who was killed for solving the case. He's dead now. For one, not only did he solve the Tupac murder because he received the confession letter, which Greg Kading and them trying to discredit, but he received the confession letter from the niggas who did it, which were the Patton brothers. The Patton brothers, Lil Half Dead, Snoop cousin. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but hear me out. Lil Half Dead, Snoop cousin, the Patton brothers, and one of them undercover officers were the 4 people in that car that went and killed Pac.
Now look, I agree with almost everything these guys are saying, except when it comes to that confession letter. Here's why I don't fully believe it. They claim Little Half Dead wanted to kill Tupac because Tupac stole his song Brenda's Got a Baby. First off, Brenda's Got a Baby came out in 1991. Meanwhile, Snoop, who brought Half Dead into the fold, wasn't introduced until 1992 on the Deep Cover soundtrack. The world didn't know Little Half Dead at the time Brenda's Got a Baby dropped, and Tupac was nowhere near Death Row Records at the time. Death Row was barely off the ground. So it's hard for me to believe that Tupac could have stolen that song from him. And Pac explained where the song came from.
That video you made when you do that, when that girl had to do that baby in the dumpster? Yeah. What inspired you to make that song in that video?
I was reading New York Post when I was doing the movie Juice, and it was this story. It started out to be this big story about this family who died because they didn't have heat and they left the gas on. Everybody died except for this girl. She moved in with her cousin, second cousin. She started dating her second cousin. He got her pregnant. Nobody noticed she was pregnant. I was like, dang, and nobody talks about that. No young black males, no black males talk about black females like we should. We need to take more responsibility for our sisters, because if we don't, who will?
He said he read an article in the newspaper about a 12-year-old girl who dumped her baby in a trash can. That article exists. This is documented. So how does that turn into a motive for murder? The letter claims that the Patton brothers and Little Half Dead were in the car. I don't believe Malcolm Patton and the others could have hit that car that many times, that accurately, unless they had serious military-level training. And here's another thing. The letter says Reggie Wright gathered multiple people from multiple gangs at a park to talk about who was going to be the one to kill Tupac. That just doesn't sound believable to me. To me, it almost sounds like the letter was an attempt to muddy up the investigation, like Reggie likes to say, just to throw people off. Marion Knight said that if you solve the Tupac murder, you'll solve the Biggie murder, because it was the same circle of people. So if that's true, how come nobody is blaming the Patton brothers or Little Half Dead for the murder of Biggie? And even with that album cover from Half Dead, yeah, it shows what looks to be Gaddafi and Tupac, each with a bullet in his head. But a picture doesn't prove action. Nobody's accusing Half Dead of killing Gaddafi in New Jersey. So why take the image as proof that he pulled the trigger on Pac?
But what the murder rap DVD from Greg Kading can tell you is that Keefy D from Southside Compton Crip was in that car, and Orlando Anderson was in that car, and Orlando Anderson got jumped in the casino. So, okay, now let's go get the get back, and let's go also get the get back and get the money from Puff Daddy that he put on the head of Pac. This is all Greg Kading's story. You see what I'm saying? And this is a story that, like I said, was all fabricated to take the true story on who really killed Pac and what the real true reason was. And not only kill Pac, but it was also a coup to kill Suge Knight, because at the time in '96, Death Row was worth $500 million. Right now, that's like almost $2 billion if you talk inflation numbers and shit like that. So think about it. You got a black man from Compton owning a damn near $1 billion record company. These Jewish white people was not feeling that. So the lawyer of Suge Knight, David Kenner, okay, who's now no longer his lawyer anymore, David Kenner was the one who implicated Suge Knight in the kicking of Orlando Anderson on the ground. Orlando Anderson told the police and told everybody that Suge Knight did not kick him. He said, Suge Knight didn't kick me, Suge Knight didn't kick me. The lawyer of Suge Knight provided the MGM footage to the table. So basically he incriminated his own client. On purpose, by the way, because it was a coup to take away Death Row, to take away all that shit from both them niggas and give it, to basically do what they doing now, living off the residual wealth and all the shit that Pac did before so his white people could get paid for it. But back to Russell Poole. Russell Poole found out all the stuff with the case based on evidence. Not only did he take this evidence with the confession letter to the sheriff's department, he also uncovered the plot to kill Suge Knight at the One Oak Club. I don't know if the club is in L.A. or in Vegas. I think it's in L.A. I'm from L.A. I don't know why I don't know if the club out here. But the One Oak Club where Chris Brown, it was the Chris Brown party. I don't know if you remember this, bro. Yeah. But it was a Chris Brown party. I think Tony Parker, the basketball player, got his eye cut, some more shit or whatever. Anyway, at that party, Suge Knight got shot 5 times. Now, you tell me what nigga get shot on accident 5 times. Right. Even the innocent bystander. Don't no nigga get shot. 1 in the leg, 1 to the heart. 5 times, nigga? Come on. Don't nobody get shot 5 times. But hear me out, though. Russell Poole, rest in peace, got the surveillance of the LAPD cop who picked the shooters up from the airport and dropped the shooters off. Okay? And so he took this evidence of the confession letter, okay, all the other evidence that he had, The footage of the LA sheriff cop picking these niggas up and taking them off, he took all that to a meeting at the LA Sheriff's County Department office to tell them about the shit that he had, to tell them basically Greg Kading's lying and is full of shit, and this is the real story. Russell Poole never leaves that meeting. He dies in that meeting from a heart attack. Okay?
Right.
Yes. Right. So you already know Orlando Anderson's dead. Russell Poole is dead. Frank Alexander, Tupac's ex-bodyguard, who kind of cracked all this shit open with the 2-hour play-by-play analysis on what happened the last night Pac was alive, is dead. All these niggas are coming up dead, bro.
So this
But
is
the
why.
people,
So when people feel like, you know, Wack 100, if it's because the interview I just did, and this just did with one of Wack 100 homies from his hood that's really like his OG. He was like, nobody's standing behind Wack on none of this shit. So people wondering like, okay, if his own hood not standing behind him, he feel this comfortable going this hard, knowing that there's millions of Tupac fans, that he gotta feel untouchable. So the E1 is, you said, basically the motherfuckers that's behind him, they basically willing to protect them. But this is what's crazy to me. So I'm wondering if E1 owns the rights or the likeness to an individual. You know what I mean? That's for instance, like, okay, E1 owns the likeness to the car that's in front of you or whatever. I don't understand why would they want to shit on this if this is their moneymaker. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that part of it. It seems like that's kind of going at it backwards. Like, why would you want to make everybody dislike something that's basically your moneymaker that you want to go, that you're trying to really, in essence, sell to the people?
that's a great question. That's a great question. And basically, how I can answer that is they basically get paid off the good and they get paid off the bad. So you got Wack 100 talking all this shit. People are still tuning in to hear what he got to say. People are still tuning. No matter what our opinion is, we still gonna click like. I mean, we still gonna click play.
Right.
You feel me? We still gonna, and they gonna get paid off of it if our opinion is shitty of it or we love it. They gonna get paid off the play. You see what I'm saying?
Because I've been noticing when I go back and watch my videos, a lot of the Tupac movie ads is running on all my shit. You know what I'm saying? So when I was thinking, I'm like, anywhere I go, they get promotion out of it. Because that's what the dude, G Principal, was saying in the interview I put up today. He was like, he said Wack 100 told him, he didn't say, Wack 100 didn't tell him who. He was just like, someone paid him $150,000 to do this. But it's crazy because like the interview was 43 minutes, and it's like it's crazy because no one. That's the main part of the video I wanted people to listen to, and it's like no one's really. I'm like, fuck all the other shit. He talking about Wack 100 ain't no shooter, this and that. I'm like, that's what's
fuck all
important.
that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
oh man, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it's like I'm trying to figure out some type of way to. That's why I was like, do you have anything like in black and white? So if I do want to press that issue and not press it hard, because it sounds like this some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
bro.
you don't know who a motherfucker might try to come. It makes me where, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. It made me, since I started doing all this stuff. Every so often being a YouTuber, some people will try to put copyrights on your shit or whatever. Now, if a month, say for you got a YouTube and you put up something, I can put a false copyright on your stuff, then you gotta appeal it. Now, if you appeal it, you know what I'm saying? Say for you appeal it, now I can reject it. Now, if you know you in the right, that makes you want to appeal it again. Now, if you appeal it again, it turns it into a legal process where YouTube lets them know like your full name, you know, your address and everything associated to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where I didn't have to go back and get a P.O. box and all that stuff for that reason. 'Cause I'm like, you never know how people behind the scenes are thinking. Like, if we really want to know who's behind this channel, we can find out this motherfucker home address by just doing that simple thing.
Exactly. And that's how you know Reggie was playing games when they tried to say I was some white man from England. They know exactly who everybody is. And even if they didn't, all they'd have to do is hit up Alan Grunblatt, and he'd reach out to his people. And just like that, they'd have all the info they need. These folks are too connected, too calculated, and too well-resourced to not know. So when they start pretending like they don't, that's part of the act.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
sir.
like I want to, you know, do the journalistic work and put this shit out there, but it's like, damn, how hard do you push
How
it?
far do you? Yeah, my brother.
Yeah.
That man, you so on point, bro. Because I was thinking this is like, Man, this shit gets so deep. Like you said, you don't know how deep you want to go. Like, how deep do you go before they start coming for you? You get what I'm saying? Like, and I understand, bro, and I love your channel, bro. You're doing some real good shit, and that's why when I'm like, bro, this dude is so close, but only if he, cause it's just one dude, man. You got to look at this dude, man. Mm-hmm. His name is Tanique Reviews. Tanique Reviews. Okay. Now, in my opinion, I think this dude is gonna wind up dying pretty soon. Okay. For the simple fact, he is the guy that is ordering all the FBI files. Okay. Everybody that got some information about it, they're sending it to him, and he's somewhat spearheading this movement to get somebody prosecuted. And long story short, the brother is closer than ever before. I mean, he's close to the point where he got Russia. He's flying out to Russia today to go get some shit that the Russians got on Tupac. Because I guess the Russians were spying on the U.S. or some shit at that time, and they got some shit on Tupac and Biggie that they're threatening the United States with, or the FBI with. But you know, the FBI, they in transition right now. So they just fired their director, and they got a new nigga coming in, and Trump just let him go. So they going through a lot right now. But long story short, literally Russia says they have information about this shit that'll crack it all open.
Now listen, the brother that's speaking, he's not lying about what he said regarding Tanique Reviews. Tanique was dropping real paperwork, FBI files, testimony, receipts. He was exposing exactly what's been going on behind the scenes, what they knew, what they heard, and what they tried to bury. He had Kevin Hackey's full testimony, and that's where things got deep. Kevin Hackey said he gave the gun back to Reggie Wright, and that same gun is the one that ended up being used to kill Tupac. Hackey even said he brought the gun to the FBI, and instead of keeping it, after they ran it for ballistics, they handed it back to him and told him to return it to Reggie. So they were on top of everything, and Tanique was out here pulling the curtain back, piece by piece. Reggie was shook. He was so worried about what Tanique was exposing, he got on the phone with him. So when you hear that recorded conversation between Reggie and Sharitha, that's Tanique on the other end. It was Tanique who recorded that call. That's why we even have that audio.
Your text. In the book Labyrinth, they do got the receipt and all the checks that Kevin Gaines got. It's a fact.
A check from Death Row?
Death Row Records. No, they got it from Death Row Records. An allotment from Suge Knight, $10,000. Several of them was found in his gym bag and in his locker. That's what you're going to see in the movie when it's released.
I didn't know that.
I promise you. I can't swear to God, but I wish I could. But I promise you, you can see it. In fact, I'm going to post it. Now that you said it, I'm going to let you see it. $10,000 to Kevin Gaines. Sharitha gave it to him. An allotment from Suge Knight.
Well, that would come from Nightlife Management or something.
No, it says Death Row Records.
Okay, hold on. You can hear me calling, and I'm about to ask you about that. Hold on.
Okay.
Just listen. Don't say nothing.
All right.
What's going on?
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm trying to ask you, somebody's about to do a story, and they're going to say it's going to be in the movie, too,
Can you give me like 10 minutes? I'm in the shower.
Okay, I just want to ask you one question, though, right quick.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me come closer to the phone. Let me dry my hands.
All right, take a picture of that, too.
I can't hear you, so let me dry my hands. Wait a minute.
All right.
Okay, now what you say?
I said take a picture of that scene, too. I was messing with you.
You don't want to see that?
I know I don't. I tell you every time you get mad when I say I don't want to see that.
You don't want to see that?
But anyway, right quick, Big Bro. I want to tell you, Kevin Gaines. Did you ever cut him some checks or something like that from Death Row Records? Because I know you ain't cut it from Death Row Records, but you might have did from Nightlife.
He's
$10,000?
No.
They got something where they trying to say that they got pictures of check stubs and stuff like that from Death Row Records.
No. Never.
Okay. What about from Nightlife?
Nope.
What about from Nightlife?
Nope.
What are they have killed this shit, bro. Because I'm gonna make sure I would have killed you, me, and everybody else if he knew.
No.
You cannot check that Kevin
I'm a whole lot of things, but I ain't that scammer.
Yeah, he would kill your ass.
They lying. Why would I want a paper trail when I never brought him around nowhere?
Exactly. That's what I was like.
So if I'm gonna hide him in secret, you think I'm gonna let somebody catch a paper trail? Even when he worked with, and I don't even think he's the one that worked. He got his friends to do it. They were paid cash by Snoop.
Yeah.
So no, there is no reason. There's not for those $10,000. That's some made up shit.
Well, any check?
Not that I'm aware of. No, not unless it was that whole other thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
wouldn't have been from death row.
But that would have been later. That would have been to you. It wouldn't have been to.
And Tanique wasn't just putting out fluff. Kevin Hackey said he gave the gun back to Reggie Wright, and that same gun is the one that ended up being used to kill Tupac. Hackey even said he brought the gun to the FBI, and instead of keeping it, after they ran it for ballistics, they handed it back to him and told him to return it to Reggie. So they were on top of everything, and Tanique was out here pulling the curtain back, piece by piece. He was showing so much real, documented info that even I was telling people, yo, they're about to book Reggie Wright and them for the Tupac and Biggie murders. Because Tanique was putting too many facts out there, too much proof. And just as I was saying that to people, guess what happened next?
Retired LA County Sheriff's Lieutenant and his son, a one-time cop with the Compton Police Department, have been indicted on federal drug trafficking and money laundering charges. Prosecutors say Reggie Wright Sr. and his son, Reggie Wright Jr., are both members of the Grape Street Crips gang.
The way the timing played out, it almost looked like Reggie was arrested just to shield him from all the new paperwork that was surfacing. It felt too well timed to be a coincidence, like they moved on him just in time to keep certain things from blowing up any further.
So you got niggas that are literally flying out to Russia today to go and get that information, or at least with their Freedom of Information Act, see what they can get on what's going on.
Right.
Now, like I'm telling you, your boy, like you smart, bro. You putting it together yourself. It just don't make sense for a nigga to throw himself into the fire like that.
Right.
You feel me? And he told his boy that he was getting 150 racks.
Yeah.
He getting more than 100. He getting more than 150 racks, bro.
Because
he getting more than 150 racks.
When he said in the interview, like, I just let him talk. 'Cause I wanted to see how far he was gonna go. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of times, you know, like when you're doing an interview, you don't really want to like keep hitting them with questions, because then you might stop them from really saying some real shit. You just want to kind of
Vlad TV.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Just let them go, because then they might really get into some real shit. So I was just letting them talk. And he was like, and so in my mind when he said it, it kind of threw me off my next question. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn. I'm like, he just said some real shit. And I'm like, damn. I wonder, in my mind, I'm like, okay, people gonna catch this, but I'm like, damn, he don't do it. What type of proof do we got other than him just saying he kind of dogging Wack100 and then implying this? Is people gonna believe it? And then I'm just constantly scrolling through my comments all day. I only seen maybe 3 or 4 people actually pick up on it. I had to actually make a comment myself inside of my comment section and post it at the top of the comment section with the timestamp of him saying it, because I want people to actually see it. You know what I'm saying? Hear what he's saying, because I'm like, that's the most important shit. You know why? Yeah. That's answering the question of why people are like, why after 20 years? But let me ask you this. So the dude you mentioned something about somebody named Keefy D. Is Keefy D still alive?
Oh, good question. Keefy D, and man, God don't like ugly, bro. Look, Keefy D's still alive, right? So basically what Keefy D told Greg Kading basically coerced him or whatever, but in order for Keefy D to get out of the penitentiary, he basically told the story. He fabricated the story about him and Orlando Brown in the car. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, he told this story, and he got out of jail. So here comes Russell Pools following up on Keefy D like, I'm finna re-interview Keefy D and see what's up with this shit, right?
Right.
No, R.J. Bond, which is Russell Pools' partner. R.J. Bond wasn't a cop like Russell Poole, but he was his partner with this documentary. So R.J. Bond re-interviews Keefy D, and Keefy D tell you straight up, he lied just to get out of the pen.
Right.
He said he told Greg Kading everything he wanted to hear just to get out. And I can find that and send that to you, nigga. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do a live. I'm gonna send some shit to you, by the way, like, you know, throughout the day and some days coming. I'm gonna send some shit to you that may help you. Okay. But Keefe D said that. So his shit is discredited. Now, where's Keefe D now? He got cancer. And word on the street is Keefe D got something to say before he died. You feel me? That he got, you know, something that he want to get off his chest, so to speak. So if Keefe D come up dead before he died of cancer, then we know why. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm guarantee you that he want to come out. First of all, he already said he was lying, but I think he want to come out even more like, because Keefe D is Orlando Anderson's uncle. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if people knew that. That's his uncle. You know what I'm saying? They from the same hood, same everything. And like I said, he got cancer, and he's basically coming out saying that shit ain't true. But people, they got billions of dollars to push their narrative. That's the thing. They got billions of dollars to push their narrative. That's the thing.
Just like the brother said, these people aren't playing with millions. They're working with billions to push their narrative. And the real shame is, a lot of that money was stolen straight from the artists who built the culture. They stole Marion's company, which was worth $500 million. Comedy Central took $250 million from Dave Chappelle. That's $750 million between just two people. And that doesn't even include the lifetime of residuals made off their names, images, and creative work. Remember when Donald Sterling talked about culture? You've been watching that culture in action, right in front of you this whole time.
You know, it's like a campaign when you running for president. This man may be a better president, but this motherfucker got $1 billion in campaign money. He gonna win. Yeah. It's the same thing. But I'm telling you, bro, the free press, people like yourself, are going to be the people that crack this shit open, because niggas like you can't be bought. I'm not saying you know, a nigga can't give you some money, but it's a certain limit. It's a certain level you willing to go, bro. I hear you. You feel me?
You keep your integrity as well. You know what I mean? Like, you want people when they come to your, you know, platform, that they can kind of have trust in what you're saying, that you're not creating a narrative. Like, listening to all this stuff that you're saying, it's making me think back of maybe, like a month ago, they was like, Suge Knight finally reveals who killed Tupac. And then I just seen a video maybe like 3-4 days ago where Wack100 was like, he talked to Suge on the phone, blah, 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 and he's supposed to be getting out in 90 days.
Scared of Suge. I just talked to Suge. Suge just gave me his life rights to do his movie. Stay tuned. Yeah, Wack got the life rights. TMZ, whoever y'all looking, Wack got the life rights to do Suge Knight's movie as of 48 hours ago. We just talked for the first time. Me and the homie got settled our differences. You know what I'm saying? We was mad at each other. Got the life rights. Suge Knight, let me tell it, he'll be home in the next 90 days. Let me tell it, he'll be home in the next 90 days. I'm gonna prepare his bail, all that. Life rights is coming. The rise and fall of death row. What I'm scared of my homeboy for? What you talking about?
Okay, now let me elaborate on that. Man, you on point, bro. I love it. Let me elaborate on that. Now, the first thing you said was, what was the first thing you said? Fuck.
What about Suge admitting that after all this time that?
Okay. Yes. Okay. So with that was, like I said, Suge had a lawyer. His name was David Kenner. He was the lawyer that was doing everything. He's the corrupt lawyer that basically got all this shit cracking. You feel me? He's the Jewish lawyer. He's the Jewish lawyer. You feel me? That wanted to take death row from Suge. And he took it from Suge with the help of Suge's ex-wife, Sharita Knight, and of course with the head of Right Way Security, Reggie Wright, and ex-police captain Reggie Wright. Okay, so these just so you know who they are. Okay, now his new lawyer, his name is Thaddeus. I forget his last name or first name, but his name is Thaddeus something. He signed the affidavit, basically saying that the story that Russell Poole and R.J. Bond came up with was indeed the true story. Word is Suge shedded a tear when Russell Poole and R.J. Bond told her, because they hadn't talked to Suge at all. They didn't get no interview from Suge, none of that whatsoever. They got the story together and reached out to Suge Knight's lawyer, who indeed Suge Knight's lawyer got the story from them and told to Suge, and Suge basically signed off on it. Like, he was surprised that these men were so on point with the story. And the lawyer signed the affidavit. That's why they keeping his ass in there on $25 million bail, because they want him to agree to the murder rap theory instead of the Russell Poole RJ Bond theory, which is the true story. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they got him in. That's why and also another thing about that shit with Suge real quick was when he went over there to Tams when he went over to Tams and he ran over the nigga at Tams, they was trying to kill him.
It's more as bad as it hurts to do this right now, but I'm gonna go in and put this out there right now so the world will get a grasp of what's to come. As you know, the day before Suge was shot in the Camps parking lot, I had a conversation with TC, who we all know as Terry Carter, who was a beloved friend of mine, and the truth is just the truth. A day before Suge was lured to the Camps, I myself was asked. They didn't know if he was going to come. And Terry and several other guys whose names I won't mention during this recording because they're street cats, tried to offer me money. One of the guys who was an officer from Compton at one time, as everyone knows, who was Reggie Wright Jr., as well as Dr. Dre, offered me money to lure Suge with Terry Carter to the Towns parking lot because they wanted to kill him. So there was money placed on the table for Suge to be killed. Dr. Dre said that Suge was a thorn in his side and he wanted him out of there. I asked Terry, I said, Terry, I can't do that. You know me and Suge is like brothers. He said, look, man, I'm behind on my house note as well as my children's life insurance policy that I need to pay this life insurance. He said, please do this for me, that they're willing to get you a lawyer. He said Reggie had cash money that he was willing to take to my family to pay me to help lure Suge to that parking lot. So as much as it hurts to do, I don't want to go into all the names, but I want Reggie and all those to know, as well as Snoop is involved with this and other rappers who wanted Suge taken out. As I say, stay tuned. The truth is coming, and just fasten your seatbelts and strap up because it's coming.
Wow, that's heavy duty information.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into more details later. I got the flu right now. I'm a little bit underneath the weather. Please release that too. That's why you hear me breathing the way that I'm breathing. I've been waiting for this moment and this opportunity to come forward. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of people dragging my name and this man's name through the mud. So as I say, fasten your seatbelt, strap up because the truth is coming. My target is Reggie Wright as well as Greg Katie. And Dr. Dre and Snoop would have to answer for what they have to answer for. The truth is the truth. As much as it hurts with Terry, but that's what I was asked to do, was to lure my brother down the parking lot. They knew that if I called Suge, they knew I knew high-level crip dudes that would come, and I just couldn't do it. As I told you earlier, I've known this man since I was 17, 18 years old, and it was two peas in a pot. So he's my type of dude, and real dudes don't turn on real dudes, whether they represent the red or the blue. And that's just how I feel. And so, as I said, I can't speak for him and what he knows and the information that he has. We both are asking for full immunity to bring this stuff to a light. And but again, I've chosen to stand by my brother, and that's what I'm going to do. So, the headline of this whole thing, I guess, would be is that Dr. Dre wanted Suge out the picture. He paid to have what took place with Suge.
This call and/or telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I've actually heard a tape. I won't go say who, but a very, very important person who let me hear a tape. And the gun was picked up and it's on tape. There are checks that prove what I'm saying. That were, people. I've been in the industry. When you write a check for something, normally it comes from a production company or from Universal, what have you. You don't write personal checks to people who are street people. The truth is coming, and stay tuned. But please get this out there as quick as you can. Like I say, anything that I have to say, if it does not come from Mr. Carlin, through Mr. Carlin, it wasn't said by me. If Mr. Carlin releases it, it is what it is. My grandma used to have a saying, tell it like it is, and the truth is the truth. This is what my whole mission is by coming forth with what I know. I did not commit the crime that I'm in prison for, and I'm not for sale, is what people don't know. So I'm not going to take money to have a friend of mine who I've known from 18 years old to have him killed to get a lawyer. Ain't no lawyer in the world. I've been in prison going on 27 years, and I'd rather sit in prison than to turn my back on somebody who I consider to be a friend. I was raised underneath that old cloth, and the only thing you can choose in this world is a friend. And again, that's my friend, and they were sadly miscalculating and thinking that I would turn on Suge. So I thank you for your time. We'll go into more detail later. As I say, I'm a little underneath the weather, and I just want to thank you for this opportunity, Mr. C.
All right, brother. Have a great day.
All right, God bless. All right,
bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Because if you don't know, Dr. Dre owed Suge Knight $330 million.
Damn.
Okay? When Suge Knight, hear me out, bro. Think about the movie NWA, and I'm not just basing this off the movie. I'm just giving you an example. Think about the movie NWA at the end when Dr. Dre left Suge Knight. What did Dre leave with? He left with nothing but his talent. He signed a lifetime deal with Suge Knight.
See, Marion was trying to follow in the footsteps of the music executives he had been watching. Like you heard in this video, the real game is getting someone with a legacy and locking them into a life rights contract. That's the trick. This is what Porky and Marion picked up from being around Donald Sterling's culture and the industry at large. Look closely. When people like Jimmy Iovine, Jerry Heller, or even Comedy Central get someone to sign over their life rights, it works. They profit. They expand. They flourish. But when Marion tried to pull the same move on Dre, it didn't go the same way. He ended up shot and eventually thrown in prison. Eazy-E tried the same thing too. He learned it from Jerry Heller, who, let's not forget, is also part of that same Donald Sterling culture. And we all saw what happened to Eazy. After he passed, a former Ruthless Records security guy, Mike Klein, who also happens to be connected to that same culture, tried to steal half of Eazy's company from his family.
So Suge Knight gets 30% of everything. I was a young nigga making a dumbass business decision when he was young, but you could tell Dre just wanted to get out of death row, so he just did what he did and he left. With that being said, he signed a 30% contract with Suge Knight. So everything Dre got, Suge got 30%. Same thing Eazy-E was doing to his artists because Eazy-E wanted to do distribution deals. And man, this shit gets so deep. And that's why they really killed Eazy-E, but we talk about that another time. Eazy-E was getting real big into black distribution and wanted to own the distribution.
Just like I was saying before, when people connected to Donald Sterling's culture want to own distribution companies, there's no issue. They get green lights, funding, and protection. But when we try to do the same thing, it's a whole different story. Marion Knight, Irv Gotti, Jay Prince, and Dame Dash were reportedly coming together to form an independent, black-owned distribution company. This move would have been a game changer. It threatened the power structure of major labels and distributors that had always controlled the industry. The idea was to take back ownership, cut out the middlemen, and give artists more control over their music and profits. But before the Lucky Seven could even launch, all of them were suddenly hit with federal investigations or legal trouble. Marion got locked up. Irv Gotti was hit with money laundering charges tied to Murder, Inc. Jay Prince dealt with constant law enforcement pressure. Dame Dash had his own battles in business and court. The timing wasn't random. It was a coordinated effort to shut down what could have been a major shift in power. That's how the system works. When we start building true independence, they hit the switch.
So long story short, Suge Knight wasn't tripping on Dre leaving because of the distribution deal, not the distribution deal, but the 30% lifetime management deal that he had with Dre. So when Dre sold Life Beats to Apple, okay, Dre Beats to Apple for $1 billion, you do the math. Right. I mean, of course, it's $330 million that's due to Suge Knight. Okay, and you can go look that up on Google right now. Right. But we already knew about that before Google even before it was even in the search engines, because we know what the contract was, not the contract, but what the agreement was when he left, and we know he's supposed to be getting his money. So Suge Knight won his money, right? Not only do he want his $330 million from Dre, he won his $200-something million for his likeness in the movie that he didn't receive, and even Ice Cube said he needed to receive. Right. So they called this a meeting to talk about the money, maybe set a deal, maybe do da-da-da-da. So they say, oh, man, come to Tams. So Suge Knight said, okay, fuck it. I'll go see about my money. I go to Tams. I pull up. It ain't nothing but niggas I know I fuck with there, right? So he pull up when he pull up, he see niggas lurking in the bushes. He see niggas cocking shit. And then he see his homeboy trying to come up to him. He see his homeboy got a fucking gun. Suge Knight ain't stupid. He getting the fuck out of there because he know these niggas finna set him up. They coming to talk about millions of dollars, bro. We ain't talking a couple of racks. We talking about, nigga, $500 million they talking that they owe this man.
Right.
So with the help of the sheriff's police department, with the sheriff's department, because like I said, Compton Police Department, when they disbanded, because I don't know if you know, Compton used to have their own police department. Then with corruption and the Rampart scandal, they were disbanded. Once they disbanded, the LA County Sheriffs took over jurisdiction. Most of those cops that were in Compton Police Department went over to the LA Sheriff's Department and basically fucked with the same area that they were fucking with the police department prior. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With that being said, they still got connections with those folks. Some of them niggas is captains now, all kind of shit. So they played it so what no police was finna come up around that time.
Yeah.
You feel me? So Suge Knight goes to talk about this shit, and like I said, he see his homies niggas creeping up with burners. He get the fuck out of there. He run the nigga over that one of the niggas over that, was conspiring to kill him, and he get out.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to pay. Dr. Dre had that nigga set up because he didn't want to pay that nigga that money.
So then, basically, if he didn't run that dude over, that would have been the end of him that day. They was gonna get him out of there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you think it's a coincidence that Tupac mom dies before this movie?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's all that shit from the outside looking in. I'm like, come on, man. It gotta be something going on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm trying to tell you, bro. And hear me when I say the feds are watching this shit, bro. The feds are watching this shit, bro. They are watching this shit, bro. Not only are they watching this shit, bro.
whose side are you think they on? You think they on the Jewish and them side, or do you think the feds want to crack this case, or you think because there's so much money involved, they might have a sleeper or something up in the feds that's not really tripping?
Good question. I think the feds are divided because, for one, you got good niggas in the feds, believe it or not, you know what I'm saying? And then you got the thirsty people in the feds. But the key thing is that's going to help the feds, because see, the key thing is that's going to help the feds say, okay, let's try to do something, is the fact, and it's going to sound real crazy.
All right,
but it's
fam, that was part one.